Zoom check.
Webinar started.
Good morning. Welcome to the New York City Council Subcommittee on Zoning and Franchise. Please silence all cell phone electronic devices and do not approach the dais. Chair, we are ready to begin.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to a meeting of the Subcommittee on Zoning and Franchises. I am Councilmember Kevin Riley, Chair of the Subcommittee. This morning, I am joined remotely by Councilmember Moya, Ressler, and in the room, I'm joined by Councilmember Shulman, Carr, Hanks, Abreu, and Botcher. Today, we are voting on several proposals. The first proposal is a neighborhood study by the administration, which re-envisions Midtown South below 40th Street. The proposal is known as Midtown South Mixed Use Plan and is located in Councilmembers Botcher's and Powers District. We will also vote on 5 private development proposals: Lenox Hill Hospitals, also in Councilmember Powers District, 47 Hall Street in Councilmember Hudson's District, 347 Flushing Avenue, and 236 Gold Street, both of which are in Councilmember Ressler's District, and 42-11 30th Avenue in Councilmember Caban's District. Beginning with the LUs 324 and 325 regarding the Midtown South Mixed Use Plan, also known as MSMX. The zoning in Midtown South between 9th Avenue to the west, 5th Avenue to the east, 40th Street to the north, and 23rd Street to the south is out of date. Midtown is one of the most accessible areas of the city, and yet this area of Midtown, below 40th Street, is primarily zoned for manufacturing uses. We have been very focused on building housing in the outer boroughs, and this is an opportunity to build both market rate and affordable housing in Manhattan, next to jobs and transit. This rezoning was made possible by the state finally lifting the cap on the residential density that is imposed on the city for decades. This neighborhood plan will create a new special district known as Midtown South Mixed Use Special District and replace the Garment Center Special District. The special district consists of 4 sub-areas. The first sub-area is the northwest between Broadway and 8th Avenue. From West 35th Street and West 40th Street, and it covers the city's garment districts. The second sub-area is to the northeast between 5th and 6th Avenue from the West 35th and West 39th Streets, and it contains numerous hotels given its proximity to the theater district. The third sub-area is to the southeast, also between 5th and 6th Avenue from West 23rd and West 30th Street, and has a mix of uses and buildings. The majority of the sub-area is within the historic district. The fourth sub-area is to the southwest between 6th and 8th Avenues from West 23rd and West 31st Street, and has quite a bit of hotels and mix of uses, ranging from the Flower District to the Fashion Institute of Technology. Under the proposed neighborhood plan, these 4 sub-areas will be rezoned from light manufacturing and commercial districts to mixed-use districts that will allow residential use together with light manufacturing and commercial uses. Together, the plan is projected to produce a significant amount of new housing, approximately 9,700 apartments, of which approximately 2,900 will be income-restricted affordable apartments. The proposal involves 2 actions. The first is a zoning map amendment to change the existing M1-6 and M1-6D manufacturing districts to multiple mixed light manufacturing and residential districts that consist of M1-NA manufacturing district and paired with an R12 residential district, an M1-8A manufacturing district paired with an R12 residential district, and an M1-8A manufacturing district paired with an R11 residential district. The second action is a zoning text amendment to create the new Midtown South Mixed Use Special District and other changes including mapping MIH. We are recommending several modifications to the land use action approved by City Planning Commission. The first modification is focused on preserving good jobs and the unique ecosystem that exists today in the Garment District. The Garment District, which contributes to making New York such a special place and a home for so many different people, provides a critical support to Broadway and the fashion industry. The modification is to remove the proposed R12 residential district from the mid-block portion of the blocks between West 36th and 40th Streets between 7th and 8th Avenue in the northwest sub-area of the rezoning. These blocks would instead be rezoned with just an M1-9A manufacturing district, which will allow up to 15 FAR of light industrial and commercial uses. This change will not have a significant effect on the amount of housing that is planned to be anticipated to produce because the buildings on these blocks are not projected to be redeveloped as housing. Over the past several months, public input has made it clear that there's a unique cluster of businesses in the Garment District, and that these businesses depend on one another, and then that their proximity is to the theater district. If they were relocated throughout the city, they would not be able to function. So we are preserving this truly unique section of the city. The second recommended modification is to the southeast sub-area of the rezoning. The proposed M1-8A/R12 mixed-use district should be modified to an M1-8A/R11 district for the 4 blocks between 23rd and 27th Street. The southeast section of this neighborhood plan contains a variety of building types, including many that are in the historical district. Our modifications to reduce the bulk of the proposed residential buildings over these 4 southern blocks will establish a transition from the highest density areas in Midtown to be comparable to lower density areas of Chelsea and Flatiron. This modification will provide for a more holistic planning approach while not having a big impact on the amount of projected houses. The third modification we are recommending concerns the street wall regulations in the southeast sub-area. The recommendation is to remove the proposed special district regulations that will allow a building to have a higher base height if the building next to it has a base height that is higher than allowed. In this sub-area, the maximum base height of buildings should remain between 60 and 155 feet to ensure a street wall that is not overwhelming to pedestrians. I will now turn it over to Councilmember Bottcher to discuss further this exciting re-envision of Midtown South.
Thank you, Chair Riley, and thank you to the members of this subcommittee. Today we rise to address one of the greatest challenges facing our city, the housing crisis that is pushing New Yorkers to the brink. The city that we love is crying out for action. This is a moral emergency, an economic emergency, and a threat to the very future of New York City. Now, I had a whole paragraph here to go on and on about how bad the problem is with housing in New York City. But the truth is that New Yorkers are tired of hearing speeches about how bad the housing crisis is. They want leaders who will actually do something about it. So today, we are taking bold, decisive action to do just that. We are unlocking 9,535 new homes, including 2,842 permanently affordable homes in one of the most transit-rich parts of the city, one of the most opportunity-rich areas in the nation, in an area that does currently not permit new housing. And we're doing it while ensuring protections for the garment sector, investing in transformative public realm improvements, and addressing critical infrastructure needs. This is as many affordable homes has been built below 96th Street in Manhattan over the past 5 years combined in one rezoning. But we also know that livable neighborhoods require more than just homes. They require jobs, services, and economic opportunity. That's why I'm proud that this plan includes robust protections and historic investments in the garment sector, one of the most iconic and creative industrial neighborhoods in the world. The Garment District is home to thousands and thousands of workers, nearly a quarter of New York City's remaining fashion manufacturing jobs. Throughout this process, we've heard from fashion workers, makers, local small businesses who asked us to protect this community, and we listened. We've secured $121.9 million in public-private investment, a package to support the garment sector. We're also protecting the historic manufacturing core, modifying the zone between 36th and 39th, between 7th and 8th Avenues to preserve space for commercial uses. This will ensure that new housing and business growth can thrive side by side. And now to the streets themselves. At the heart of the MSMX plan is a transformative vision for public space, a $325 million investment to turn Broadway into a continuous world-class promenade of plazas, greenery, shared streets, rivaling the great civic corridors of cities like Barcelona and Paris, right down the middle of Manhattan. We're delivering a fully pedestrianized Broadway with raised street beds to sidewalk level, native landscaping, public seating, public art, new car-free blocks from 22nd to 25th Street, including New York City's first Kids First Play District. Drum roll, please. We're getting a dedicated 34th Street car-free busway as part of this plan. A continuous 7th Avenue bike lane from Houston Street to Central Park South. Nearly 400 new street trees in an area that has some of the lowest street tree canopy in the city, and Vision Zero safety improvements throughout. Midtown South will no longer just be a great place to work or pass through. It'll be a place to live, to gather, raise families, and build lasting community. And we're also making sure that infrastructure keeps pace with that growth. A $13.5 million renovation of the McCaffrey Playground, a redesign of that playground on West 31st Street, a new enclosed EMS Station 7th at 613 West 29th Street, replacing the inadequate open-air trailer on 23rd Street, investments in local schools, including the High School of Fashion Industries, a transit improvement bonus eligibility that covers all sites in the rezoning area, and much, much more. And finally, this is not a plan that erases the past, it honors it. So we've got commitments from the Adams administration to advance landmark designations for key buildings in the garment and flower districts, helping to preserve Midtown South's unique character as a center of industry, commerce, and culture. This is a bold, balanced, and long overdue plan. It builds on the housing. It builds the housing we need, protects the jobs we depend on, and reclaims the public space for people. It creates a neighborhood that's not just dense, but livable, not just central, but equitable, not just historic, but visionary. This is what it looks like to build the future. I want to thank my colleague, Councilmember Keith Powers. I want to thank my staff, including Lori Harjo-Warogo, Carl Wilson, and Hannah Moses. I want to thank the City Council's Planning and Land Use Division, all the amazing staff there, and our partners in the Mayor's Office and the Office of City Planning, and all the tireless advocates and stakeholders who've been part of this process. as well as community boards 4 and 5. I was up in the Adirondacks visiting my dad, my whole family. My dad said something to me when I was up there. He said, Eric, there are two types of people. There are thermometers and there's thermostats. A thermometer will tell you what the temperature is, but they change nothing. A thermostat will tell you what the temperature is, but it'll also change the temperature. It'll change things. It changes the environment. It leads. So that's our choice as policymakers. Will we just react to the world that we live in and give speeches about the problems, or will we shape it into what it should be? Let's go and be thermostats. Let's lead with purpose and drive the change we need.
Thank you, Councilmember Butcher. Just state we've been joined remotely by Councilmember Salam, and we've also been joined by Councilmember Powers. Councilmember Powers?
Thank you, and good afternoon, everyone, and thank you all for being here today for quite an important vote for not only the city, our districts, but Midtown and the future of Midtown and Manhattan. As many of you know, it's been a years-long process to get here, and I am excited to say that we are finally moving forward with a plan to bring more housing to Midtown and Midtown South. As many of you know, I've been a vocal supporter alongside my colleagues like Councilmember Botcher in zoning changes for New York City to address the housing crisis. Just last year, the City Council passed a historic rezoning of the city, which took a great first step towards increasing supply to address the housing shortage. But I think many of us felt like that was a step and not the complete picture. And the Midtown South rezoning the committee is voting on today is a next big step for the city and for Manhattan. You've all heard me talk before about all the great things this plan will do, but I want to reiterate a couple of reasons why I think this is a great opportunity for progress in our city. Of course, as I noted, we are in the middle of a housing crisis, and that means we have to think outside the box to solve it. This gives us a chance to do that. We have empty offices and depleted offices all throughout Manhattan, in my district, in Councilmember Botcher's districts, and others that also demand a solution to how we are going to move them forward as well. And if we can move vacant offices into become new homes in a part of the city that is less housing than the rest of the city for decades, I believe that is a win. Currently, the Garment District has fewer residents than any district in the 5 boroughs. Thus, a 24/7 mixed-use community will increase pedestrian activity and be beneficial for ground floor businesses and for the streetscape. This plan would create nearly 10,000 new units, including nearly 2,900 permanently affordable homes for low and middle income New Yorkers in a community that is transit rich, near good schools, great businesses, and much more. This plan also supports community facilities and makes sure that our streetscape and our beautification will happen alongside a new booming neighborhood. We're taking advantage of new tools to make sure that we can do that while working hard to try to minimize construction times and preserve great neighborhood character. There are many benefits that are being part of this plan, but I want to give a special shout out to my colleague, Councilmember Botcher, who has tirelessly from the beginning fought to make sure that the existing and important industries that reside within this area do not lose a future and do not lose the support of the city at a time where there's so much happening and so much change. And I can attest, sitting at the table with him for the last few days and weeks, many phone calls exchanged, and trying to hash out a plan that we think works for everyone. He has been tireless in his ability to navigate difficult questions, but to see the big picture around the housing crisis, while also a very ever-present picture of how the fashion and garment and flower industries will continue to thrive and survive in this neighborhood where they have called home for so long. I believe we have struck a very good balance to make sure we can do all of the above. And like all plans, maybe, I don't know if we got it perfect, but I feel like we worked as hard as we can to make sure it was perfect for as many people as possible. I think this will revitalize an area bogged down by current rezoning restrictions that limiting its potential, and I am very happy that we've moved this forward. Again, I want to thank my Councilmember Eric Botcher and our Borough President Mark Levine, who joined us in this early support to get this plan moving. I want to thank Barbara Blair and the Garment District Alliance, who came forward with a vision early on about how we might move this forward. I want to thank everybody who reached out to us throughout this process to make sure that this was a plan that worked for everyone. And I want to thank my staff, to Franklin and to Ben and to Emma, who worked very hard in many community board meetings and much more to get here. I want to thank our Dan Goronick, the team at City Planning, Community Boards 4, 5, and 6, and the Land Use team here at the council, who have been working on this plan alongside of us for years. I'm proud of this plan. I'm proud of what we have accomplished, and I encourage my colleagues to vote yes to advance it to the full council. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Councilman Powers. The second vote concerns LUs 339, 340, and 341 regarding the Lenox Hill Hospital. Applicant is seeking to modernize and enlarge the hospital, which has been at this location since the 1800s. Lenox Hill Hospital is located on the full block bounded by East 76 and 77th Streets between the Lexington and Park Avenues on the Upper East Side. The hospital consists of 10 buildings that have not been renovated in decades and that need to be brought to the current standards for hospitals. Specifically, the proposal involves demolition the existing building along the Lexington Avenue to construct a new hospital building and renovating the remaining building. The proposal involves 3 actions. The first action is to rezone the majority of the block to C1-8 and C1-9 commercial districts, while maintaining the existing R10 residential zoning at the westernmost end of the block. The second action is a zoning text amendment to create a special permit that will control the overall bulk of the proposed enlarged hospital, allow an increase in the maximum floor area for the hospital uses on the site, and map mandatory inclusionary housing. The third action is for the actual special permit. Taken together, these 3 actions will facilitate the redevelopment of Lenox Hill Hospital into a facility with 475 single-bed patient rooms that meet current industry standards and provides first-rate services to all New Yorkers. This long-due renovation will also include significant transit improvement to the southbound 77th Street subway station on the number 6 line that will include a new covered subway entrance that increased stair capacity and an ADA accessible elevator and ramp and improve pedestrian circulation. We are recommending the following modifications to the land use actions approved by the City Planning Commission. CPC approved 2 alternative development scenarios. The first development scenario, known as Option 1, will permit a taller, narrow tower along Lexington, and the second development scenario, known as Option 2, will permit a shorter but wider tower also along Lexington Avenue that will extend into the mid-block. The recommendation is to remove Option 2 from the special permit and reduce the maximum height of the proposed tower in Option 1 fronting on the Lexington Avenue from 436 feet to 370 feet, while also limiting the height of the portion of the new building along 76th Street within 180 feet west of Lexington Avenue to 235 feet. The second modification is to require that at least 95% of the proposed development site be used as a hospital in order to qualify for the requested special permit. As approved by CPC, only 75% of the site would have been a hospital use. We are changing this requirement to 95% to ensure that this site will be developed and maintained as high-quality, modern hospital for all New Yorkers. The third recommended modification concerns the layout of the redesigned ground floor. Specifically, the applicant has agreed to modify the special permit drawing to create a through block passage for ambulance coming to the hospital. Ambulance would enter on the 77th Street into interior building ambulance bays and then exit on 76th Street. As initially proposed by the applicant, the ambulance bays would have only been along 77th, which would mean that the ambulance would have to back out onto the 77th Street to leave the hospital. This would have only continued the well-established traffic issue along 77th Street. Our modifications ensure a better circulation path for the ambulances and will finally alleviate the long-standing congestion of this street. The hospital has also agreed to relocate the entrance to the hospital's mother-baby services off of Park Avenue and place it on 77th Street. I will now turn it over to Councilmember Powers to further discuss the much-needed renovation of this hospital, which has been an asset to the whole city since the 1800s.
I'm going to speak.
Okay. Thank you, Councilmember Powers.
Thank you.
The
I'll be brief for you, Councilman Ryan.
Oh, I
I will speak
appreciate
at
it.
land use. Thanks.
The third vote concerns LUs 331 and 332 regarding the 47th Hall rezoning proposal. Applicant is seeking to repurpose a full block next to the Navy Yards that consists of several buildings which were used in the past for manufacturing. Under the proposal, the block will be converted into a mixed-use development that would include residential, commercial, and manufacturing uses. The new apartments will be located both in the new building and within some of the existing buildings, which will be converted into residential use. The development is projected to have approximately 611 apartments, of which between 153 to 183 will be permanently affordable housing. The proposal involves two actions. The first is a zoning map amendment to change the existing M1-2 manufacturing district and map over a portion of the site as a mixed-use M1-6/R8 district and over the remaining part of the site a M1-5 manufacturing district. The second action is a zoning text amendment to map a mandatory inclusionary housing area. We are recommending to modify the available MIH option to deepen the required level of affordability. The modification is to remove option 2. This will require that the applicant provide the affordable units to families who on average make 60% AMI, which is a maximum of $87,500 for a family of 3. Councilmember Hudson supports this application as modified. The fourth vote concerned LUs 334 and 333 and 334 regarding the 347 Flushing Avenue rezoning proposal. Applicant is seeking to change the zoning from newly constructed building next to the Navy Yards in Brooklyn to allow additional commercial uses. The proposal will also make a legal, non-conforming residential building located at the eastern end of the block into a conforming use by mapping the residential district. The proposal involves two actions. The first is a zoning map amendment to change the existing M1-2 manufacturing district to an M1-5 manufacturing district and the eastern end of the block to an R7-1 residential district with a C2-4 commercial overlay. The second action is a zoning text amendment to map a mandatory inclusionary area. Councilmember Ressler supports this application. The fifth vote concerns LUs 335 and 336 regarding the 236 Gold Street rezoning proposal. Applicant is seeking to develop a mixed-use residential building with approximately 114 apartments, of which approximately 30 apartments will be permanently affordable. The proposal involves two actions. The first is a zoning map amendment to change the existing R6B residential district to a C6-2A commercial district. The second action is a zoning text amendment to map a mandatory inclusionary housing area. We are recommending to modify the available MIH option to deepen the required level of affordability. The modification is to remove option 2. This will require that the applicant provide the affordable units to families on average making 60% AMI, which is approximately the maximum of $87,500 for a family of 3. Councilmember Ressler supports this application, and I would now like to give the floor to Councilmember Ressler for his remarks.
Thank you, Chair Riley. You do a superb job with this committee and really appreciate your leadership. And I want to just firstly congratulate Councilmembers Bottcher and Powers on a banner day and a major achievement that was many, many, many years in the making, but you were the guys that brought it over the finish line. Just two projects in the district that we spent a fair bit of time negotiating and thinking through and just want to speak to briefly. First, 347 Flushing, which is an unusual one because it's an existing building, newly built, that the developer came to us and asked for us to kind of modify the zoning so that what they've constructed would be in compliance. and essentially we shifted a bunch of community facility space to commercial space. But I wanted to ensure that in that process of losing some community facility space, which is always so valuable, that the landlord worked with some of the leading community-based organizations in the community to provide space in their building to expand their great work. So the Shomrim, who play an essential role in keeping the Williamsburg community safe, will have half a dozen dedicated parking spots for their vehicles and for their emergency response and command center in this building's parking lot. And United Jewish Organizations of Williamsburg and North Brooklyn, the beloved and exceptional social service organization that serves the community, is going to actually be opening a new food pantry in this building, which I am thrilled about. So I'm grateful to the landlord and his representatives, and to the community-based organizations, the Shomrim and UJO, for working together with the leadership at 347 Flushing to advance these agreements. And I'm proud to support this project. The project at 347 Flushing has been a really positive development for our community. And then at 236 Gold Street, we're approving a new zoning, a new housing development on a vacant lot, which is where housing should be going. And there was a lot of community opposition to this one. Community members felt that this should be lower density site, as the housing on the other side of this project is mostly row houses. But we were able to come to an agreement on the project where we are going to build the full number of units that the developer proposed, 114 units. But we've included a meaningful setback on the Concord Street side that will limit, I think, some of the concerns that neighbors have had, although not alleviate them altogether, unfortunately. The developer has agreed to allocate $500,000 to the Parks Department for parks improvements in the immediate area, a number of sustainability improvements, has agreed to changes to limit some of the negative potential impacts of their design on the surrounding neighborhood, and we'll continue to do our best to help support the Bridge Plaza community in addressing congestion issues and other quality of life matters. But I'm grateful to Bill Vinicombe and to the Bridge Plaza community for engaging with us and trying to find common ground. My staff has done a great job on all these projects. Angela Yang has newly taken over our land use portfolio and done a great job shepherding this all through. And I really want to thank Lena and William from the land use team for their terrific advice and counsel. And I'd be remiss in congratulating my colleagues Eric and Keith on the Midtown South for not shouting out Genevieve and Dan as well from DCP. I know this is one that they were deeply, deeply invested in and helped get over the finish line with us. So congrats to all, and thanks for the time to explain my support for these two projects in District 33.
Thank you, Councilmember Ressler. The sixth vote concerns LUs 337 and 338 regarding the 42-11 30th Avenue rezoning proposal. Applicant is seeking to develop a mixed-use residential building with approximately 32 apartments, of which approximately 8 apartments will be permanently affordable housing. The proposal involves two actions. The first is a zoning map amendment to change the existing R5 residential district with a C1-2 commercial overlay to an R6A residential district with a C2-4 commercial overlay. The second action is a zoning text amendment to map a mandatory inclusionary housing area. We are recommending to modify the available MIH option to deepen the required level of affordability. The modification is to remove option 2 and to add option 3. Council, are there any council members with questions or remarks at this time? No. I will now call for a vote to approve of modifications LUs 324 and 325 relating to the Midtown South mixed-use plan proposal, to approve of modifications LUs 339, 340, and 341 relating to Lenox Hill Hospital proposal, to approve of modifications LUs 331 and 332 relating to the 47th Hall Street rezoning proposal, to approve LUs 333 and 334 relating to 347 Flushing Avenue rezoning proposal, to approve of modifications LUs 335 and 336 relating to the 236 Gold Street rezoning proposal, and to approve with modifications LUs 337 and 338 relating to the 42-11 30th Avenue rezoning proposal. Council, please call the roll.
Chair,
Aye.
Councilmember Moya,
I vote aye.
Councilmember Abreu,
Aye.
Councilmember Hanks,
Aye.
Councilmember Shulman,
Aye.
Councilmember Salam,
I vote aye.
Councilmember Carr.
Aye.
By a vote of 7 in affirmative, 0 opposing, and 0 abstentions, LUs 333 and 334 are approved without modifications, and LUs 324 to 325, 331, 332, and 335 through 341 are approved with modifications. These items are referred to the full Land Use Committee.
Thank you. That concludes today's business. I would like to thank the members of the public, my colleagues, subcommittee council, land use and other council staff, and the Sergeant at Arms for participating in today's meeting. This meeting is hereby adjourned. Thank you.